Hello guys, thank you for joining and watching this review. Today I want to review a really special deck that I was sent to me this morning by Rockpool. It's an upcoming release and it's called Tarot of the Sorceress, and it's by Berenger Demonse. Thank you Moran for helping me to pronounce that. Because I can't speak French, and I hope I've said that right anyway. Probably not. But this is a really lovely deck. It was actually I had the French version of it. It was actually around earlier in the year, late last year, I think. And when I saw that Rockpool had actually picked it up, I was super excited because I'd be able to read the guidebook. And so this is a really lovely deck, and it's got like such a gorgeous like kind of witchy aesthetic to it. So on the back of the box it says, discover concealed oracle messages and bring to light your hidden depths with the Tarot of the Sorceress. Inspired by pagan spirituality, this deck revolves around the seasonal festivals, sabbats and solar events that comprise the wheel of the year, and rituals encompassing the four elements of air, water, fire and earth. The major arcana embrace the great movements of the wheel of the year, while the minor arcana are tools in the service of the major arcana, depicting Sabbath seasons, moon cycles, sacred figures, constellations, planets, crystals and plants. Each element has its own force, but together the cards take on different symbols. This striking tarot, with its beautiful black and white illustrations and metallic highlights, reflect the magical and mystical world. It can be used for divination or during rituals. Now that's a lot that a deck promises, because obviously I didn't know what it meant in the French version, so I was super excited to open and unbox it and read the guidebook, which I have done before I've reviewed it, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So it comes in like this lovely kind of like box like that, and you get the guidebook just inside the cover, and the cards are there. Mine unfortunately got damaged in transit, but like, I mean, I'm sure it's not all out like that anyway. And these are the cards. So basically the cards are housed inside this like little recess in the box, and the box is quite sturdy as well if you want to put it on your shelf. Now what's lovely about this, it's edged in this like gold metallic finish as well. So if you're into aesthetics, it's very pleasing on the eye. They are very glossy, and they do pick up fingerprints quite easily, I will say, because it's black. I mean, I can already see like all my thumbprints on there already, but you know, it's no big deal. You know, it's just one of them things. It's just because it's printed on this. So yeah, let's have a look through the cards. So first of all, you've got the Fool depicted as a witch. Now in the little guidebook, which I will show you first before I go through the cards. So in the little guidebook, you've got like, it's absolutely lovely. You know, all the cards are exactly the same as they are in the deck, so you can see, you know, there's no flipping around from page to page, it's all in order. You can see the card and then the text. So basically at the beginning of the book you've got intuition, divination, curiosity, and it tells you about the tarot deck, and the suits are exactly the same as they are in normal decks. But in the Tarot of the Sorceress, the four traditional suits are replaced by their respective elements of air, water, fire and earth. See the section Why Sorceress is Tarot. In any tarot, swords corresponds to the elements of air, cups to water, wands to fire and coins to earth. The tarot I have imagined draws its inspiration from two distinct traditions, the Marseille Tarot and the Rider-Waite. In my readings, I combine both traditions to create my own practice, and by following that personal pattern, I created this tarot. This booklet is completely infused with that combination as well as my own tradition. However, this tarot can be absolutely used as a Marseille Tarot or a Rider-Waite Tarot, or be applied to your own personal tradition if you have one. So that is really cool. And then what the creator has done is the knight follows the king as presented in Alejandro Jodorowsky's book The Way of Tarot. This suggests that the knight is a messenger of the king and therefore moves towards the next suit of cards. The numerology preserves the passive active aspect of the cards, and the names, numbers, and elements of imagery follow the Marseille tradition. The interpretation of the cards may differ from your usual tarot if you have one. So what's really cool about this? Now, I created the Tarot of the Sorceress based on the Wheel of the Year, drawing my inspiration from seasonal pagan spirituality. This tarot therefore revolves around seasons and festivals and the Sabbats that pace them throughout the year. It is more broadly built as if it were a full participant in the creation of rituals around the 4 elements of air, water, fire and earth. The major arcana embrace these great movements of the Wheel of the Year and the figures of a pagan spirituality, and the minor are like tools in the service of the major, depicting Sabbath, seasons, moon cycles, sacred figures, constellations, planets, crystals and plants. And each suit contains an element, a time of day, a sense, a lunar phase, a candle, a crystal, a herb, a flower, a magical tool, a planet, an incense, an animal, an allegory and constellations. And then you go on to the numerology and how to use the cards, and then we've got card spreads, which is also good in a little book. So you've got, you know, the normal generic, like 1 card, 3 card, the cross spread there, so that's just 4 cards. So you've got represents you, the issue, past events and the outcome. That's a nice little quick one. Then you've got the witches spread as well, so that's 6 cards. And then we go on to the description of the cards. So basically, I'm just going to read this first one out to give you a rough idea of like how the guidebook, you know, is kind of like formulated. So you've got the keywords at the top. First of all, under the Fool, you've got the Sorceress embarks on a spiritual path, and then you can see a witch on a broomstick heading towards wherever, a moon or a planet, whatever. And it says the Fool represents the starting point of a sorceress journey. Who is she? Is she embarking on her spiritual path and mounting her broom for the first time, or is she already on a journey that was begun long before? One thing is sure, she is moving and she still has many things to explore and discover. She has chosen to be a sorceress and live marginally, and to define herself in this way. In doing so, she knows she will have to struggle against preconceived notions, but that her path will be filled with magic, enchantment, and occasional mistakes that will help her grow. She is accompanied by her symbols of the 4 elements, her broom, black cat, the mortar and pestle for her potions, and she might have inherited these from Baba Yaga. Now, before anyone starts saying, oh, this is appropriation, it just says she may have. And I don't know the background of the author or anything. She was just using that as an example. So we've got, she's getting ready to visit with the major arcana of the tarot, with all the innocence of a new adventurer or the excitement of renewing an adventure at her own pace and in her own way. She is unique, and the traditional keywords are travel, searching, strangeness, freedom, chaos, madness, detachment, lack of judgment. Oh, there you go. That's so that's just the 1 page per card. So you can see that witch on the broom, and you can see there's like kind of a metallic. They're not foiled, by the way. They're just metallic. So there you go. You can see the title's metallic, and little tools on a belt are metallic as well. So let's go through the card, shall we? This is an absolutely gorgeous deck, by the way. It's very intricate. You know, there's lots to see in each card. I wouldn't say it's particularly busy, because it's very readable as well. I like the way that certain things are picked up in this like kind of metallic aspect in the cards as well. The High Priestess. It's just the book. The Empress. Like there's 4 there, and it's like the Beltane, the May Day, you know, the kind of like dancing around the maypole kind of thing. The Emperor. That's a really strong like kind of card, and you've got the symbol for Aries as well. The Hierophant, which is absolutely gorgeous, and you can see all the symbols, the scales on his back, the illustrations. Look, look like it's been tattooed on. It really is lovely. You've got the lovers there as well, if you can see that. The Chariot, you can see the movement, the lady like moving forward. To the right as well, Justice. Such a gorgeous deck. The aesthetic is absolutely beautiful. It's nice to see, like, different kind of artwork on decks, retaining the symbolism of both the Tarot de Marseille and the Rider-Waite-Smith, but kind of different as well. Wheel of Fortune. Strength. Hangman. And look, there's no, because in the Tarot de Marseille, the death card isn't named, so she's actually left the title out of Arcana 13. Temperance. The Devil. The Tower. The Star. The Moon. The Sun. The images are quite powerful, I've just realised that, and especially like reading through the guidebook, which I did earlier. Judgment and the World. Now we get on to the minors. So this is Ace of Air, which relates to swords. I do prefer named air as after the elephant. Elements. It's much easier to. It's what's like in my psyche anyway. So like I remember that easier. So the titles are called. What I will show you, which I love. Remember that she said you can actually, use what system you're used to. So you've got the Suit of Air, and we've got number 2, and it's called Dawn. So, keywords: indecision, blockage, compromise, being on the threshold of the cavern. Dawn is a metaphor for our being. It highlights our indecision, our first steps into a half-tone situation characterised by hesitation, but also by a raw intention waiting to be revealed. Half shadow, half light, dawn can hide a blockage or may need a compromise to express itself. Dawn lacks clarity, but it is full of promise. Now, that is amazing for that card. Because, like, I would never have thought until I saw this illustration that, it could actually be, explained in that way. So it makes total sense. Now, what I love, this 3 of Air, which relates to the 3 of Swords, you haven't got that heart and that broken heart on here. You can see the illustrations. It's got butterflies and birds and a swallow, and then vines, and then some musical instruments. And the key word for this is hearing. So you've got first attempts, first thoughts on the world, as an adolescent attempts to express your ideas. And then the reversal is fear of revealing yourself, sadness, shyness, adolescent crisis. So what she says in this one is hearing, the sense associated with the element of air, is a demand to be heard. It is a call to the world using sound, and it cannot be ignored, even if it is sometimes rejected. It's the first step turned outward in your project or idea. Hope for the person who calls, good news perhaps, or a discovery or feeling of being attacked for the one who receives it. Now, because she's used the numerology like in the Tarot de Marseille, I am already very, very, very much in love with this deck. Because it's like a pictorial Tarot de Marseille, and all the little added like kind of illustrations, like you've got the wind instruments there, you've got bells at the bottom as well, plenty of birds as well, and as I pointed out before, the musical instruments, and you've got that doorway with like sound or something coming out of it, and also the element of air. So that just explains the whole kind of scenario, what's on the card. And then so we've got the 4 as well. I'm not going to like read out each individual card from the books. It'll take me so long. I just want to show you the illustration. So we've got the 4, and then the 5, and then the 6. You know, I think this deck's going to be super popular. I read about that 7, the 7 of Swords, 7 of Air, and it's all about not being seen. And she says in the book, which is which clover's got the 3 leaves, which clover's got the 4 leaves. You know, you can hide behind the clover, so that kind of makes total sense as well. Everything that's in the guidebook makes sense as soon as you read it to the cards. You're not sitting there scratching your head thinking, well, what does that mean? That's not what I thought about that card. But as she says, you can follow this system, which isn't a completely new system. It's based on the Tarot de Marseille, or you can read it as a normal Rider-Waite-Smith. But to get the full benefit and beauty out of this deck, I would go with the guidebook, because it is absolutely gorgeous. It'll add more elements to your readings as well. And along with the illustrations, which are very, very intuitive, you know, you'll be able to add a lot of different kind of elements to your readings. So there you've got Ace of Water, and there is the 2, and there you've got the 3. So a bit like, you know, say like you've got the Empress in the majors. So each number 3 relates to kind of like that Empress element about creation, expression. So it is very easily used if you kind of like stick with the major arcana relates to the minor arcana, and it weaves a whole story, but obviously using the element. And this is what I love about decks like this, and this is why I'm a Tarot de Marseille reader as opposed to a Rider-Waite-Smith reader, because it makes more sense to me to relate, you know, the numerology to the element. I just, you know, it's just got such a gorgeous aesthetic, you know, with the herbs and the crystals. You know, some cards look like woodcuts. You know, there's the arm symbol on that 8 of Water there. And then, like, you know, you've got a completely different kind of like aspect on there. You've got a cauldron filled with some flowers. Looks like a spell book there as well. And then the 10, you've got like 8. I've missed it. Oh, there's the 9. So, oh yeah, 8, 9, 10. And so there you've got the 10 on that one. And then you've got the Page, the Queen, the King, and the Knight. And then you've got Fire, the fire element, and the 2, the 3. You know what, I really can't wait to start playing with this deck properly, and like using it and seeing what, you know, kind of the messages come up with it, how much I've got to think about things before I give the message. Because I mean, as we all know, like when we kind of have to learn something new, because that doesn't look like, you know, a standard 3 of Wands that we normally used to. But, you know, let's have a look. I'll just show you guys what she says about that 3 of Wands. Suit of Fire. So we've got the 3 of Wands, and the key word for that is sight. So you've got expansion, first steps, creative experiments. The 3 of Fire is the card of first steps of adolescent life, testing that is uncontrolled and full of enthusiasm. Imagine you are observing the world through that first sense of sight, and you suddenly feel a desire to discover everything, to always see more. Hence, the person at the bottom with their eyes closed and all the eyes above looking in different directions. However, the many eyes in the imagery symbolise that it is up to you to decide what you look at and how you look at it, and that your senses are directed towards the world or towards your interiority. The way you want to explore the world, to invade it with your seeking and diligence, will always be personal and unique. God, that is so cool. So yeah, it's just brilliant. I really hope that this deck becomes like super popular, because like it kind of like thinks outside the box. And as I've said many times, with Rockpool, you know, they're not afraid to kind of take a risk, you know. They will kind of like take on different artists and something that's completely different on board, and that I truly appreciate them for. Because, you know, how it is in the tarot community, it is a bit, can sometimes be a bit stale and the same old, oh, not another Rider-Waite-Smith clone, blah blah blah, or another recolouring. But like, I mean, as for these kind of decks, I mean, it's not only aesthetically lovely, it's also very usable as well. So you can tell that a lot of work has gone into this deck, because of the little guidebook and the illustrations being so intuitive as well. So it's absolutely gorgeous. And as she said in the book, it's plants, crystals, you know, and all the plants which are named in the book, they've all got different kind of meanings. So obviously, you know, you'll be able to find the meanings of the plants and the crystals and everything, and like use them in your own practice. And she does actually say as well, like in the guidebook, which I haven't read out, it's like having an altar in your pocket. So, you know, you could use it for many things like spell work as well. So this is the kind of deck that I think is very welcomed, because it's so different. There you've got that Queen of Fire there, the King of Fire, and remember what she said about the Knight being the one that follows on to the next suit. So now we're on to Earth, and there's the 2, gorgeous back there, and with the elemental symbols, and you've got the 3, and so you've got the skeleton hand, the flesh hand, and then the formed hand picking. And so that obviously, that's in different stages. And then the Earth 4s. The 4s, I've noticed that the 4s have actually got moons and kind of planets on as well. 5s always seem to have candles on. That's lovely. I just love this kind of like rawness of it. And there we've got 3 sage. Is it all sage? Maybe. The 8 of Earth. So you've got the seed, the sapling, and then the full plant. The 9, a gorgeous pentacle, and then the 10, and then the page, the Queen, the King, and the Knight. And then we're back to the very beginning, to the 4. Now, what I'm going to do is, right, I'm going to shuffle the Sierra Shuffle, as it's got really glossy cardstock. Now, I riffle shuffle and then I overhand shuffle, so let's have a look. It is quite like a thickish deck because the cardstock is quite thick. So if you've got small, you know, small hand span, because it is quite, you know, a wide deck, it might be difficult for you to kind of riffle shuffle. But they riffle shuffle absolutely perfectly. Do they clump together? No, not really. And so let's try overhand shuffle, which is perfectly fine. I can't bridge shuffle, guys, sorry. And then let's try the fan. The fan test, I'm going to do this fan test on a scale of 1 to 10. So fanning the cards out. 3, 4. Maybe it'll get better with time. For a fan to work perfectly, you need something on linen cardstock. You know, like casino quality cardstock, because obviously that's used in casinos. And so you know, I mean, you know, it's very slippy and slidey, but to do a fan like, just try it again. No, you know, it looks okay. But like, as I said, you know, 3, 4 maybe. It takes a lot for me to get a 10. And say like, so for instance, right, this isn't a deck obviously I've studied, because with the French version I couldn't read it. I just love the cards, and I've just briefly, like kind of quickly, read through the guidebook today. So I haven't actually had time to sit down and study it. So let me just say what the message we need to hear for the collective today. I'll probably have to look in the guidebook for this if I want the proper meaning instead of my own preconceived meanings that I normally apply. So we've got, oh, we don't. So we've got the devil. So as you can see, you've got like the goat, the horn there. You've got an exposed breast, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got the chakras there as well. And let me see what she says about the devil card in the book. Okay, so we've got the devil connects vice or evil, what should be kept hidden deep inside because it's too terrible to be shown to the outside world. In the tarot, the devil has a much more nuanced and deeper meaning than that. You can interpret it prosaically if you wish, but if you do so, you will doubtless miss its true essence. The devil is the fire burning inside you that motivates you intrinsically and therefore personally enable you to start moving so you may attain your goals. She is primitive, relentless passion that connects your body together and gives meaning to its existence. The devil is neither masculine nor feminine, but encompasses both in all that makes up your innermost being beyond gender, appearance, morality, and the varnish of education. She is your true being with all the qualities and faults that make up its personality. This card depicts the devil with the 7 main chakras, which enable vital energy to flow continuously throughout your body to give it life and united energy. This also shows a form of imperfection because although the chakras do need to be balanced, perfection is divine and cannot be attained by humans. Is balance perfection? What is your balance? The devil represents the raw expression of your humanity. This card therefore invites you to shake up your shadows, your darkness, and explore your deep motivations and identify your inner fire, especially if that fire has been smothered by years of living and a will to conform to an outside mould. Now that is pretty incredible. You know, just adding the chakra elements to that card completely changes the whole meaning for me. I actually never thought about the devil as being your inner fire. So that is really good. So I absolutely love it already. So there you go, guys. I forgot to show you the backs. The backs are like that as well. So I will give this definitely a 10 out of 10. Cardstock, I will give it a 7 out of 10 because I would have liked to see it on matte cardstock. But I think on the matte, I don't think the metallic would have showed up so well as on glossy. But as for durability, it's perfectly fine. You know, it'll last years. It's not thin, it's not thick, it's just the perfect kind of like cardstock that you use. And so yeah, so there you go. That wraps up my review for the Tarot of the Sorceress. This is an upcoming release from Rockpool Publishing. I will put the date of the release below in the description box. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all very soon with another review. Take care, stay safe, lots of love always.